here, and a negative here. Because we were dealing with point charges before, or dealing with nice spheres, but if I don't have a nice sphere, what happens to the charge? Or to the electric field? And we'll justify it slightly more at a later point. But if we think about the electric field right here, just on the outside, just to the right of that bar, well, if we're close enough to the bar, it's as if this is infinitely large. So imagine you're standing next to the Green Giant in Fenway Park. Now, you stand from a distance, you go, oh, that's a big wall. If you stand up right next to it, that thing is huge. Similar type thing here. If you're standing right next to it, it is absolutely huge, so I can treat this as, it's a bar, it has 3 dimensions to it. I can treat this as an infinite plane. In other words, the electric field would be pointing perpendicular to it, right there at the surface. And matter of fact, that is one of the conditions. If this is an electrostatic equilibrium, the electric field should be pointing perpendicular at the surface there. I got a nice spherical negative charge over here, so I know the electric field, well, it's perpendicular to the surface, but it's going straight into it. So this is the 2 things I'm dealing with here. And from that, you sort of let your artistic, a little bit of artistic flair show up. Stuff that is electric field shot straight at it would go straight into it. And the rest would curve. And so on. Probably went a little bit too high on that one right there. But by doing this, you should have some sense of, if I gave you a specific point, and what is the electric field at this point, you should have some sense of what the direction of the final answer is. So if I pick the point right here, the electric field, if I've drawn this correctly, the electric field should be pointing in that direction at that point. At this point right here, definitely would be pointing into the first quadrant. That'd be pointing into the fourth quadrant at that point. So it's sort of like doing estimates in order to ballpark figures, in order just to go, all right, is my answer reasonable? Questions to hear? All right, just to calm the excitement down some, let's take a 5-minute break. We'll come back, and just to pump the excitement back up, we're going to be talking about dipoles. Yeah. And just so I don't forget, I'm just going to let that record. So if you need some privacy, you probably don't want to talk with that thing around. Still running. Yep.
Hey, neighbors there. They're in the, where this thing's going.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I think so.
You want to use these?
Oh,
It's like a phone tripod,
okay.
and so you just put the phone in there. If you want to.
Let's get all fancy here.
I remember I had it in my car.
If we put it on Precious's desk, she can sort of follow as I go. Let's see. Earthquake. I don't want to clamp on the buttons. Oop, wrong way.
I think you're using it.
It got zoomed in, I think.
Yeah, it's zoomed.
Ow!